Fascinating story. The Attorney General of New Jersey has literally filed lawsuits against multiple school districts in his state for respecting parental rights. Can you believe it? For respecting parental rights, the government is suing individuals in school districts. And all of this is against school districts that have a policy of telling parents if their child has changed their gender identity while at school. In other words, they want transparency to parents about their child's school to be illegal. I mean, it's phenomenal. Well, joining me now to discuss this and go deeper into all of this is Meg Kilgannon, Senior Fellow for Education Studies here at FRC, and she previously served in the Department of Education during the Trump administration. Meg, thanks for joining me this evening.
Thanks for having me, Jody.
Well, you're super welcome. Listen, did I miss anything in kind of summarizing what's happening?
I wish I could say you were totally wrong, Jody, but you were spot on right. This Attorney General in New Jersey has filed a lawsuit against school districts. When Chris Christie was governor of New Jersey, he signed a raft of legislation advancing LGBTQ rights and making the Department of Education there set guidelines for schools regarding this topic. And so the activist community took that as a sign that they needed to go in and make very progressive and anti-parent laws regarding gender identity. So then parents finally, it takes a long time sometimes for it to work its way through all the bureaucracy down to the actual people that it affects, the students and parents, right? But once the parents really realized what was happening and that it was actually true, that their children could be could go through gender transition at school, social transition, and they would be kept secret from parents. They started taking over school boards and electing school board members who shared their values, and they started having at the local level policies that required parents to be notified if their student asks to be called by a different name at school. This is not a huge ask, right? This isn't a huge request on the part of these parents, but apparently it's too much for the Attorney General of New Jersey because he has filed lawsuits against these school districts who very bravely and rightly responded to the concerns of parents because they have the best interests of children in mind. And it's the kind of situation that you just can't quite believe, but it is true. I'm sorry to say.
You're exactly right. I mean, this is who in the world possibly thinks it's a good idea to keep secrets from parents about their children.
Child abusers believe that.
Well, a good point. I guess we could find some. But my point is, what kind of normal, good-natured person, even at the least?
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, Meg, let me ask you this, because this is really heavy on my heart with all of this. I think obviously behind all of this, the LGBT agenda is driving all of this. But this particular issue involves something much bigger. I mean, this is, like you said, this is saying parents have no legal rights over their child when it comes to this agenda. I mean, is that an overstatement at all? Or it just seems to me that is what really this battle is all about.
I think there is a huge movement. It's a spiritual one and a practical one to separate children from their parents. This is the work of, the devil himself, quite honestly, is to undermine that relationship, that sacred bond between parents and their children. Parents are given to children are given to their parents by God himself. And that, of course, offends people who, have nefarious intent for children. And they know that parents will protect their children at any cost. We will do anything to protect our kids, right? And so they know they have to break that bond in order to advance certain agendas. And it's unfortunate because it's just a very dangerous situation. And so many people don't agree with it. This isn't like a 95% issue, right? That parents should be in charge of their kids. And yet so many people are very confused about it.
Meg, less than a minute left is all we have. But the good news, we got parents who are beginning to fight back. They've drawn a line in the sand. Enough is enough. These are our children, not yours. Tell us about that real quickly, about 30 seconds.
Well, one great example of that is Moms for Liberty is having a summit in Philadelphia this weekend. And as you might imagine, those LGBT activists and other activists are throwing a big temper tantrum outside their conference, and creating a whole bunch of ridiculous barriers and shouting horrible things at these moms as they're going into their conference. But I have had reports from my friends who are there. They are, of course, undeterred by this temper tantrum, and they are going to continue to fight on behalf of children and families all over the country for
That's awesome.
years to come.
That's awesome. Meg Kilgannon, thank you so much for joining us on Washington Watch. Have a great weekend.
You too, Jody. Thanks.